my nightmare.
Lord, I'm having a heart attack. Damn, this is some scary shit.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Trigger Troy, and welcome back to my horror podcast, Man of Horror, where I talk all things scary. Today's going to be a pretty fun episode. I'm going to go over my top 5 final girls, and I have to say I love a good final girl. Now, if you're listening to my pod, then you know what a final girl is, but in the event that you don't, a final girl is a horror trope that refers to the last girl or woman left alive to both confront the killer and live on to tell the story. Then, after the list, I'm going to review the movie X and provide it my rating, so stick around. Now, let's go ahead and get started. So in 5th place, we have Julie James from I Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, Julie James is definitely, one of the OG final girls from the 90s teen horror craze. The time of the Screams and the Faculty, just, the huge wave of, teen horror that came out. But I Know What You Did Last Summer is one of the ones that genuinely stuck, and Julie is just perfect in the role of final girl. She starts off as a good girl, plans of college, a good life. She seems like she's innocent. But then she gets traumatized and becomes almost like a sad emo without the black. She spends a lot of the movie in this space until she literally comes face to face with her killer and has to fight for her life. She doesn't and just to go back, because I'm covering both I Know She Did Last Summer and I Still Know She Did Last Summer, because she doesn't fight as much in the first one. She mostly runs and, gets away, unlike Helen, who should have just kept fucking running. Why did she turn around? Jesus Christ, every time I think about it. But anyway, but the second one, though, Julie is just a bona fide final girl. She's taking charge, and she really just becomes a boss once she realizes shit is hitting the fan. And 4th place, we have Nancy Thompson from the OG Nightmare on Elm Street. So clearly this list is mostly OGs, because Nancy was a fucking beast. Freddie stressed that girl the fuck out. The whole movie stressed her the hell out. And by the end of the movie, I just remember her looking so damn worn out, and yet she still is making traps and decides to take on Freddy, being the only person left that can do it at that point, and she ends up bringing him back into the real world. So I would, before I finish that, I would normally say spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen the OG Nightmare on Elm Street, then that's on you. Total shame. Side note, she mentioned recently the actress Heather Langenkamp. She recently mentioned that she'd love to come back for another Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And it's crazy because her character died in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, but for my horror lovers, Laurie died in Halloween Resurrection, and they just don't even mention it, right? And I guess technically, because there was some situation where she died, and or was it that she faked her death? I'm thinking of Nightmare, or not Nightmare. I'm sorry, Halloween 6, where there was that whole mention of Laurie dying in a car accident or something. But I think that might be in relation to Halloween H2O, even though they tried to split up the timeline. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. Sorry. But the whole point is that, if they could do it in Halloween Resurrection, why not do it with a Nightmare on Elm Street movie? Nancy could totally come back, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but, I'm a writer, and I recently came up with a perfect way for it to work, and still have all the previous films be canon, so, they won't have to X out any of the movies. And I would share that, but I don't need my ideas, though. I'm going to go ahead and write it, then copyright it, and then I'll share. Just in case. You never know. I could be the writer of the next Nightmare on Elm Street, right? And also too, though, I know Robert Englund would be fucking down. Hell yeah, to come back as Freddy one more time, man. All right. Third place, and this is the only one on the list that's not, one of the OGs. She's a newer final girl. That is Erin Harson. If you have seen Your Next, then you know how much of an absolute fucking monster Erin is. Like, she's a beast, man. She appears to be, like the standard off-putting college girl sleeping with her professor at a family dinner that no one appears to want her at, right? But then shit gets real and she becomes the killer's worst nightmare. If you've seen this movie, then like you know how ruthless and meticulous the killers were. And apparently she was raised on a survivalist compound. So she makes it to the end and with like, true final girl grace, I feel. And by the end of the movie, all I was left thinking was like, if that's how they train you at a survivalist compound, if or when I have kids, I might send mine to one. Like, fuck sending them, we might all go. Like, I need some of those skills, yo. In second place, another OG, hopping back to the OG side. And again with the teen horror craze, Sydney fucking Prescott from Scream. Like, if you know me, outside of Love and Horror, my ass loves some fucking Scream, man. Like, I can rewatch the entire franchise any day, and the first one is my all-time favorite horror movie. I can literally, I actually might be rewatching the entire series right now that I'm thinking about it. I am because I just watched Scream 2 yesterday and I'm gonna watch Scream 3 tonight now that I'm talking about it. But Cindy is a final girl straight out the gate. Like, she survives being attacked by Ghostface every time and always has the knowledge of what to do next. When she gets on the screen, you can't look away. Like, just from the moment, and like she has like this look. And I guess that's not so much Cindy as it is, the actress Neve Campbell. But like, there's like this like squinty eye thing she does when it's like trying to focus or hone in on the fact that the killer is on the phone. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I'm a weirdo, and either way, I love it. um, she defeated Ghostface 5 times, and considering 4 of those 5 times there were two killers, she has killed like or escaped fucking 8 killers at this point. Like, I think she has more than earned her spot for number 2, and she's only number 2 because number 1 is just like, come on, right? Um, and so with that, if you're a horror fan, you should already fucking know who the number 1 final girl is. It's Laurie Strode, aka Jamie Lee motherfucking Curtis. Like, yo, shout out to Jamie Lee for being like the Halloween final girl for 40 years. Who even does that shit? Like, unheard of, man. Aside from like the trashy timelines, Laurie is always just a pleasure to watch. Whether she's teenage babysitter Laurie from the first 2 films, school headmaster with PTSD in California Laurie from H2O, or the older, secluded, and ready for battle Laurie from the recent Halloween trilogy. No matter what form, you want to see her make it to the end. Like, she will, and you can't wait to see how she stops Michael this time. Whichever movie it is, you're just like, okay, how's she gonna do it this time? How's she gonna do it? Her death and Halloween Resurrections, like I previously mentioned, will never count. And actually, you know what? Halloween Resurrections just doesn't count in general. So let's act like that didn't happen. But this is only part 1. I have 20 official favorite final girls, so that's gonna be at least 3 more episodes of this type of list. So I hope you enjoy it, and maybe let me know some of your favorite final girls. I would love to know.
Cut, Casper. That's a wrap.
All right. Now let's hop on over and talk about this goddamn movie X. It was very interesting. The idea was fresh. Um, Spoiler alert: the film is about a group of people who are basically aspiring porn stars who decide to film on a farm to kind of match their porn story. It's funny. and very interestingly done. Like, my first note, I loved seeing Brittany Snow. Like, overall, the cast really brings you there because, one, with Brittany Snow, it was a delight to see her back in horror. I didn't really care for Prom Night, but I love her as an actress, Kid Cudi was very interesting in this too. I fuck with Cudi, and I wouldn't mind seeing him, in more films because he did pretty good here. And then Jenny Ortega's in it, and listen, I love Jenny Ortega. Like she's just really fucking good. Like I can't wait to see her as Wednesday for the Addams Family new show on Netflix. But she's a new final girl, thanks to Scream 5, and she's just phenomenal, man. She's a great actress. So the cast definitely pulls you in. And then the setting, it's a very cool setting. It's based in the 70s, so everything has like this old school grungy feel. And then there's like this, it just feels old school. I can't even really break it down any further. Like it just genuinely feels like it's there's the movies that you can kind of still tell it was done now. I'm almost not 100% convinced that this wasn't filmed on like 8mm. Like the killers in here are an old couple, and specifically an old woman named Pearl, and she is like fucking nuts. Like, and I'm pretty sure the producers, like, they had to know that people would have been interested in her story because the sequel Pearl came out like quick as fuck. I think that's like one of the quickest sequel releases I've ever seen. Like, but they were pretty right. Like, you watch it and you just wonder, how the hell did she get here? How did she end up like this? What the fuck is going on here? There's something else, And I haven't watched Pearl yet, but I'm planning on watching it this weekend. And from the clips I've seen, because this is a prequel, she was even more wilder when she was younger. So I'm super fucking excited to watch it. With my rating, I gave this a 3 out of 5.
This movie is good.
First, I gave it a star for watchability. As I said, the plot is different, it's refreshing, and the setting, while familiar, seems different because of the story, and you want to see what happens next. I gave it star number 2 for kill count. The kills weren't necessarily creative, but there's 7 kills in total. Anytime a movie, for me at least, has over 5 kills with such a minimalized plot, I think it's an achievement, And the last star I gave it is for plot cohesiveness. It's a pretty contained story that plays out in straight through fashion. So there's no, flashbacks or anything like that. There's no random cutaway scenes that you kind of have to try to work into what the fuck is actually going on now. It's just straight through horror film. Like, so with that, again, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Definitely check that out if you have not seen it, and I will definitely cover Pearl in one of my episodes as well. But that's all for today, folks. Once again, I want to thank everybody for stopping by, giving me a listen. My next episode will be top 5 holiday horrors, so you definitely want to check that one out. Follow my official Instagram page for the podcast, manofhorror_podcast. And until next time, stay spooky, folks. Peace.